Hi everyone, Jay Johnson with dailytexture.com. I just finished a new set, a little petite collection. I'm working on these petite collections called Moods, where I do a painted background, and then after I get it scanned and edited, then I offer it in some different color tones by just making some changes so that I can have a variety of colors to go with the variety of wildlife I have. This is a shot I got the other night of a great horned owl, and I want to work with this gorgeous owl. Look at that golden eye. I just love the golden eye. I'm going to open up, let me find it, Petite Collections number 34, Moods 2. This is the Moods 2 collection that I just finished, and it's in a variety of these different colors that are shown here in the collage. It's this one background. And this is the background I want to work with. Now, if you notice, my photo was square, and this is a rectangular horizontal background. But here's the deal. You don't have to use these like they are. You can use just one side of it or the other side of it, or both sides of it, or depending on how you want to do your layers. This one here, the gold really got my attention because it goes with the owl's eye. So I'm going to open up that particular one, which is number 1, and just go ahead and I'm going to resize it. Get it where I want it there, and I'm going to drag it over where I can use this side of it with my image, and I'm just placing it right about there. There's my owl. So I think that'll look pretty cool. Now I put the owl on top. Now here's the deal. The owl's background is a rich blue. This side of the owl is also in deep shadow because of the sunlight. So I want to work on these things first. The first thing I'm going to do to brighten this up, and this is a very simple trick you can do. You can sit there and fool with a brush and all that kind of stuff, but this is what I do to do this really quickly. I'll duplicate the owl layer, and then I'll set it on screen mode, which it lightened that side up a little bit more, so it's not so harsh. It lightened the whole owl up a little bit more. If I duplicate it again, it brightens it up too much. So I'm going to leave it just right here, and I like everything about this. I feel that the color might be a little strong. No, it's fine. I think this will go fine with that background. So I just set it on screen mode to brighten the whole thing up really quickly. Now I may work on brightening this up some more, or I may not. Maybe I'll use the texture to brighten it up. That can be done as well. But since this is screen mode and this is normal mode, I'm going to just merge everything to get a solid image. It's not two different layers of the owl. All right, so there is the owl, and I'm going to bring this up here and on top of the texture. The texture underneath the owl. So you can do something like this and put it on top and change layer modes, which is pretty fun and pretty cool, and then mask away the texture. But I want to mask away this background, but I also don't want it blue. Okay, so I've got this one here. I'm going to duplicate that layer so I can work on editing it. Now I'm going to take out the blue when I do his clarity adjustment because this program allows it. I'm sure you're not maybe using this program since it's so ancient, but I love it, so I continue to use it, and it just helps me work really fast, and I don't have a lot of time to spend learning a new program right now with everything that's going on in my life. So if you have a different program and you want to do something like this and you want to get rid of the blue, which is, it makes it easier to blend with a yellow background when you get rid of that blue, is to use a color replacer of some sort in your program. You can like select this color and then replace it. When I get rid of this color, when I mess with this color here in a minute, it's just going to desaturate it down to gray, which is much better. So I'm going to go to Topaz Clarity, which has the ability to sharpen up my owl a little better with a preset. I like fur and feathers for my birds. See, that just sharpened him up just a little bit. It also brightened up this side just a little bit more. And it has a hue saturation luminance filter. So I'm going to go to saturation and pull the blue saturation down. And now it's gray instead of blue, which will help when it comes to blending. And any other colors you want to mess with, you could do so there. But that's exactly what I wanted to do, was just get rid of that blue, sharpen the owl. So let's hit OK to bring this back in. Waiting on it to process. Like I said, it's an ancient program, so it's kind of slow, but I still can mask and do things much faster in here because this is what I'm used to. All right, so I'm going to move the original owl back down out of the way. So now I have this owl and I have the background. So I'm going to get on the owl and I'm going to go to mask, turn the flow, which is like opacity, all the way up, and use a big soft brush and just go all around the edges of this without going over the owl, and get rid of all of this background. I'm going to make a smaller brush as I get in closer to the owl. Like so. Now I can just keep going with a smaller brush and go around those edges, or this program has something called Edge Aware. And I'm not sure what other softwares have, where when you're masking you can go right up along the edge to select around your subject. And this will enable me to go right up along his wings and the open feathers and get right in there in these little grooves around the sides of the feathers and around the edge of his body without going over, because there's enough contrast there. That's why I'm able to do it. Go down this wing, and if I go over him a little, I'll just bring it back, which I'm going to softly blend those edges in anyway. I need to take a look at this one wing here kind of closer with a smaller brush to get in there. If you go with too big a brush, you're going to go over the edges. See, I did that right there on that one feather. And I've got a little bit by his ear there. I'm just kind of looking around. I want to fix that feather. I can turn the Edge Aware back off now and go down to a little small brush just to bring that one part back. Now let me move him over. Now see over here on this wing, it looks a little bit choppy. This is why I lower my opacity of my brush, and using a big soft brush, I will softly, gently go around those edges. Not too big of a brush. To softly blend the feathers in with the background, bringing the background into the subject. If the brush is a little big, lower it down some more. And you have to remember the way he was flying, this wing is going to be in the background anyway. And sometimes I'll just tap. When something's in the background, it is more faded than when it's up close. Try to take the photos as sharp as you can, and then when it comes to working on art like this, you can to get more painterly, you want it to look a little softer with that background stuff when stuff goes into the background and blend it in better. So I'm just going all around, keeping in mind the important part of this picture is right here, the face and this particular area of the wing. I don't really want to go over that. I'll go over these wing feathers just a little bit because they're a little further back than the face, so they'll blend in with the background just a little bit. And I went over his tail and his side of his body a little bit, so I'm going to go back the other way with the mask on that. I may want to soften this one side though. Let's go back the other way. I do a lot of back and forth, and I'm just going to tap right here. So that kind of fades in, and then I'll go back again and take some of that back off. Because I got a little bit of a splatter showing over his body, and I didn't really want that. And his ear, I got a little bit of his ear covered up too much. So let me bring that back. All right, let's zoom out. All right, that's looking pretty cool. But I would like to bring some of the colors from this texture layer into the owl. So I'm going to duplicate the texture layer, put it on top, and then I'm going to play with layer modes. Multiply is super dark. Overlay, soft light. Soft light is what I usually like when I do this. Obviously, 100% is way too much. It looks too yellow. So I brought the opacity all the way down, and I'm just going to play with my little slider here and do a slight adjustment. Usually I end up around 20 to 40%. 30% is something I end up on, but you can tell when I've got it off right now. Let me zoom in, but when I turn it on, he's picked up a little bit of that color from the texture, and it'll also bring a little bit of this brush stroke texture into his feathers. Now, I do see on his mask, there is a little white line right here in the black area, which means I did not get something all the way masked away on this outer edge of him. So I'm going to go back with the brush and just see if I can get rid of that. It's really tiny. I know it's hard for you to see, but there, it's gone. I see that it's gone. Now I can decide on his layer if I want him to be bigger, smaller. I think a little bigger would work since the photo is so high quality. Patting myself on the back there a little bit. I mean, it's not as good as some of the photographers that photograph these owls, but it's pretty good. So I really do like the way that looks. I could bring one of the other colors from the collection in, but I would have to get it in the exact same position as this one. So I don't think I'm going to do that at this point. I could do a little painterly effect on his layer, but I think he looks pretty good as is. So one thing I like to do for sure before I say I'm done is zoom all the way out and look at this from a distance. I think that back wing could be faded in a little bit more to put it further behind him. So I'm going to try with a low opacity, low flow, big brush, and just tap some more along the edges of that. Now I'm happy with it. But I just thought that golden color looked so good with the gold of the eyes. In fact, I think I may play with his saturation a little bit here. Let's boost his saturation. Oh yeah, now that ties him in with the colors from the texture a little more just by boosting that saturation. So if I put it back to 0, oh yeah, we're going to boost the saturation. I had it on 21, that may be a little high. I just usually play with this slider. Maybe 15. That's pretty good. Now the colors that are in the eye and the feathers right here blend with the colors in this colorful background choice from this collection. And I just knew when I made this particular color of this background that this one would go good with an owl. In fact, since I just photographed the owl and I remember seeing those golden eyes, I wonder if the owl didn't inspire me a little bit on picking this color. But I really like that. And when you zoom out, it's very, very cool. So I'm going to merge all of this. And I don't really think I even want to do anything else with this. I think this is good as is. So I will save this file out as my final image. And once again, this was the Moods 2 collection, which follows the Moods 1 collection that I just put out, I don't know, a few days ago. These collections are really fun, but I wanted to show you that you don't have to work with the whole background as it's presented. You can choose to work with just a portion of the background which will fit best with your image. And in this case, I felt this side of this particular texture background fit best with this owl. So I'm only using half of it. And as always, I hope you guys find something useful in this video and that you enjoy watching me work. And I think it's pretty cool to be able to take a photo like this and turn it into a work of art by adding a background like I've done in under 20 minutes. So have fun playing with these. As always, thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.